Okay. Am I live? Got a little glitch there. Let me see if it's up here. Let's play this one. All right, there we go. That one's working. Let me see if YouTube is working. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Hello, everybody, or nobody. So before I was spending all that time getting ready for the Printers Row Lit Fest, I was working on an episode of a podcast. I did an interview with the author Jody Sperling, and after talking to him, I wanted to re-record it. And so I did that. And now what I'm doing is I'm going through and I am checking the audio narration to make sure that I don't have anything errors, right? I didn't make anything wrong. A lot of times I'll record something and I'll go back and listen to it immediately afterwards and fix things. But first, because of time, I didn't get a chance to do that. So this one has been like a week later. I normally would not do this. The reason for that is that I want to go back, and if I need to lay in some audio to replace something where I made a mistake, I want it to sound as close to what my voice sounds like at that moment as possible. So when I'm doing it in the moment like that, it's an easier to match. And also, maybe sitting in a different spot, my mic may be in a different position, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of that stuff you can fix with the normalization and limiting and stuff like that, but sometimes not. So in this case here, there are a couple places where I found where I had misspoken. I think I said 20th Central America instead of 20th Century America. That was one. And there's another patch that had some noise in it that I didn't catch the first time through. So I'm just basically going through now and listening to this. Some middle-aged woman who suffered from especially painful menopause or an acute case of arthritis. And to that woman, Jesus could offer the gold coin and healing in exchange for the woman to use her own credit card to complete the needed purchase. Such was the case at Target. All right, so that was a big gap there. I'm going to trim that down a little bit here. Such was the case at Target. And Mary Druthers, 51, mother of James and Devon, would return to her husband with a coin valued at $800 and free of the wave of hormones that caused her to nightly scream at her husband Lachey for the most inane of circumstances. Jesus not only invested in that woman's financial well-being, but she rescued an all right. So here I got a breath sound well-being, but there's kind of like a little breath sound in there. And I've got this plugin here that helped me fix that. So I'm going to basically just drag this over that gap with some other words inside there. Got a shortcut key to do this breath control plugin here, and these are the settings I use. I go ahead and hit enter, and that should fix it up. And so I'm going to listen to it again. Financial well-being, but she rescued an ailing marriage the breath with sound her is gone. Healer's touch. Discarding her robes in the bathroom wastebasket, Jesus dressed in her new clothes. That which she bought for later, she bundled inside the second button-up, tying it off at the sleeves. The next matter of business was to find her father's rose garden. Over the past decade, the father... Oh, there's another one here. Put that there. Clean that up. You may not hear it the first time through. Decade, the father had taken increasing pleasure in making the initial hunt more challenging. There's another one here. But, it's one of those things that, like, either you don't hear it or it annoys the hell out of you. So I try to get rid of it, even though I'll probably have music laid over this to cover up most of that. But I like to have it clean, and it's also good practice when I'm editing books. More challenging. Jesus had spent the better part of her first week turning over every note. All right, there's something here. Week turning over week. So there's like a right there. You see that? So I copy this silence and paste it right over that. So let's see. First week turning over every note. Try to do this. Week turning over every... I don't like that. I want something a little bit cleaner there. Let me see if I can find a clean bit here. little bit here does not sound right. Week, turning over every nook and cranny in the south of Kent. Part of her first week, turning over every nook and cranny in the south of Kent, looking for her plot of damasks. Omaha was a smaller community, but more spread out, and the thought of hunting in the humid, high sun heat was almost more than she could bear. To walk east, so sometimes I'll hear this thing where like there's a heat, heat, heat. I wonder if there's something if I want to take this out. So there's like a little big peak right there. I'm just gonna take that out real quick and see if it sounds better without it. Sun heat was almost more. Yeah, kind of like that. Sun heat was almost more. Sun heat was almost more than she could bear. She walked east along Maple, a bit aimless, feeling angry. Crows lit on the shoulder of the road some distance ahead, pecking the remains of an animal that had failed to ford the street. Jesus stopped short of the dead animal. Seeing it was a medium-sized tabby cat, Jesus felt compassion. She inclined her face to heaven and prayed. Helps if you can see what I'm doing. The crows seemed undisturbed by Jesus' behavior. Hopefully you heard it. And what was happening to their lunch. But when the cat mewed, revived by the Spirit, the crows hopped back a smidge. Then the cat rolled to its feet and sprung at the nearest crow, tearing its throat out. The bird died without protest. The cat nuzzled its kill to the feet of Jesus, and Jesus stooped to thank the cat. Go ahead, eat it. You must be famished. Death is a very tiring business, and life so much more. The cat butted its head against Jesus' soft ankles, and turning, set about picking the meat from its kill. So there was a breath sound here I heard, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. So I'm talking about here where I do this. When I was explaining it earlier, I didn't have the screen share. Picking the meat from its gill. Jesus scanned the horizon. At the intersection of 120th and Maple, there was a man, elderly, wearing filthy clothing. He held a sign. Repent, the end is near. Jesus walked through the heavy wet air, leaving the cat to its meal. She hoped the cat had learned its lesson and would turn back from the road when it was well nourished. Nearing the filthy man, cut out a little bit there. Nearing the filthy man, Jesus called out, You wouldn't happen to know of any new rose gardens in the area? The filthy man lowered his sign slightly. His jaw hung slack. This was always the way with the religious. They sensed Jesus before they knew her. But even though they came to know her, she never withheld her identity. They never Okay, there's some breath sounds in here. Knew her. But even though they came to know her, she right here. Took a breath. Clean that up. Know her. She never withheld her identity. They never a slight one in there too. So sometimes when I do this, it'll cut off like one of the consonant sounds, like the k, or if a word ends in a hard sound, it'll cut that off. So I have to be careful, make sure that I don't do that too. Identity. They never embraced her. This filthy man was especially dumbfounded. You're the Son of God. It was Jesus' turn to marvel. You have said so. Never thought you'd be so purty. The Son of Man was not one to behold. The Son of Man was not one to behold. Well, tastes change, I suppose. Perhaps, Jesus said. She was at least Is that something in there, or is that my screen? No, it's right. Said. Yeah, there's just some little click in there. Hear that? Get rid of that. All right. Said. She was at least considering the possibility that to one who recognizes God and man, beauty is of limited importance. Can you believe these folks? The filthy man said. Every one of them drives past here, and not a one of them so much as look at me. They all seem to think I got disease in my bones. Jesus saw that, in fact, the man did have disease, though not in his bone. So that was a pretty big one right there. Let's get rid of that. Have disease, though not in his bones, but in his mind. He suffered from. Clean that one up a little bit too. In his mind, he suffered from a lack of monoamine, serotonin synthesis, resulting condition, severe anhedonia. Likely the man left his street side post each day to return home, wherever home was, and upon reaching that place, succumbed to a crushing weight of depression near unto suicide. May I lay hands on you? Jesus asked. Be my guest, the filthy man said. Ain't been touched by no hands in longer'n I can remember. Jesus did. Jesus did, and she drew the sick from him. The filthy man's eyes brightened, and with the light there, he seemed not half so foul. A mighty kindness, the man said. Jesus said, Now, about those rose gardens. The man folded his side. It felt weightless to him. Might be every driver down that stretch of road was aimed right at hell, and it couldn't seem to matter suddenly. Don't seem to remember any news of new rose gardens. Over there, he pointed crosswise through the intersection, there's the best garden shop in all Omaha. They'd likely to know about new gardens, I expect. Jesus followed the man's outstretched arm. Thank you, she said. The man nodded. Turning to walk away, Jesus paused. She looked back. What about the Cubs? The Chicago Cubs? Good gosh almighty, the man said. They nearly won the whole cheese last year. Come right up to the Mets and crashed. This year they're supposed to be twice as good. I expect it might be high time. Jesus waved and thanked the man. The Cubs, who had been in third place in their division when she returned to her father from Kent the year before, had almost won it, and they were even better this season. As she walked to the garden store, she could almost taste the wine on her lips. Let's see how close I got to the original one here. Let's see, this is at jodyjsperling.substack.com. Oh, yeah. So it came out a lot longer than what I had previously done. So like maybe 20 or 30 seconds longer, but that's okay. All right. Let me mute this one here. Take the solo, turn off the solo, mute this one. Okay, there we go. So that's the old audio. I'm going to hang on to that just for historical purposes here. So now I've got the audio laid down. I've gone through and I've verified that there's no glaring errors. I've cleaned up some breath sounds, some odd clicks that were in there. And now I'm ready to come back here and make sure that the rest of the stuff is going the way I want it to. So, I am going to use, let's see here, this audio here. I'm going to grab it and drag it onto this track here. So here we go. So all of this up to here, I'm going to keep. Let me actually grab it from there. Grab that, copy it. Then I'm going to come here. Zoom back over there. And I'm going to paste it in here. There we go. Okay, but I need to take some of this off of here. Okay, let's see how this goes. Have you ever seen a man on a busy street corner, or perhaps on the side of a highway, maybe in the crowd at a stadium, holding up a sign saying, "The end is nigh"? You might assume he's crazy. But what if he's not? What if the end of days is just around the corner, waiting for that final sign? Something innocuous, The last piece of a hidden puzzle dropping into place. Perhaps it's as simple as an unlikely baseball team winning the World Series. In the Garden of End Times by Jody J. Sperling. All right, I'm going to see if I can fix the timing on this a little bit. So I've got this music here, and I'm going to just bump it up a little bit here. Have you ever seen a man on a busy street corner, or perhaps on the side of a highway? Maybe turn a little bit of that out. Side of a highway, maybe in the crowd at a stadium, holding up a crowd at a stadium, holding up a sign saying, "The end is nigh." You might assume he's crazy, but excuse me. Excuse me. I didn't mean to do that. He's crazy. But what if he's not? What if the end of days is just around the corner, waiting for that final So here what I'm doing is I'm just tightening up this introduction
Something
so it'll line up there with the music.
the last piece of a hidden for that final sign. Something innocuous. The last piece of a hidden puzzle dropping into place. Perhaps it's as simple as an unlikely baseball team winning the World Series.
Okay, so that lines up a little bit better there. And then what I'll do here too is I'm going to go ahead and cut this back and then cut all the tracks off there so that it starts where I want it to go.
Have you ever seen a
Good. So sometimes I'll try to do a little bit shorter than that so that I get a couple of beats of that before I go in there. All right, so let's bring this back here a little bit.
Winning the World Series. In the Garden of End Times by Jody J. Sperling.
All right, this is where I want to start it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this up a little bit here. And I'm going to bring the soft ambient background in. Right there.
In the Garden of End Times by Jody J. Sperling. Jesus finished the beetle picking early and went. Jesus finished the.
It's a little bit sooner here.
Jesus finished the beetle picking early and went to a village in rural Kent for a beer. What she really looked forward to was the day of restoration, when she could drink wine again. But 2,000 years ago, incarnate in the masculine, Jesus had been the sort to dole out hasty vows, which is why he said, "For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come." And promises are promises. The normal retinue of tag-alongs were in attendance, and sitting on a high stool, Jesus was trying to ignore a rabbi's doctrinal barrage of questions on account of the television, tuned to ESPN. The ticker at the bottom of the screen showed the Chicago Cubs had lost again. Anywhere her father plants his gardens, from the South Bronx to Macassar, Jesus hunts for Cub scores, because this is all her father has told her regarding his timeline for the restoration. "You will know the time is near when the Cubs win the World Series 3 times." Which, think about it, for nearly 1900 years, that reference meant less than nothing. And so for the past 120, give or take, the very existence of baseball has been a good indicator of final things astir. What a tease, then, is the father. Chicago put 2 series in the bag, back to back, in the early part of the 20th century. And Jesus was picking out fashionable summer robes for her return to Jerusalem. But hold the rod and staff. The Cubbies hadn't gone all the way since 1908, which, yes, to Jesus, is the blink of an eye. But even blinking is longer than not blinking. Contemplating the Cubs' recent loss.
All right, so I'm not quite sure if I want to do this. So here's my dilemma. I got the music doesn't quite go to the end like it used to.
Fashionable summer robes for her return to Jerusalem. But hold the rod and staff. The Cubbies hadn't gone all the way since 1908, which, yes, to Jesus, is the blink of an eye. But even blinking is longer than not blinking. Contemplating the Cubs' recent loss, Jesus ordered a.
I think that's fine. It's fine to have that not music there. It kind of like feeds the transition, I think. So I'm gonna go with that.
Not blinking. Contemplating the Cubs' recent loss, Jesus ordered a honey wheat lager, and while waiting for her drink, let her hair down, shaking the thick mop of brown curls. A few stools down, a young woman about the age of Jesus' body looked on. The woman said, "Excuse me, is this rabbi bothering you?" It's not the rabbi per se.
That
It's not the rabbi bothering you. It's not the rabbi per se. Nor, though, is it the work Jesus resents. Not the weather, not even the ferociously ticklish business of incarnation, that taken on of skin and bones, from the sexless, timeless paradise that is home. It's the assumptions.
all right, do it. I'm gonna go back here.
Down, shaking the thick mop of brown curls.
Okay, now we're okay. I thought I was missing something.
That taken on of skin and bones, from the sexless, timeless paradise that is home. It's the assumptions, how all the rabbis and priests, and pastors and clerics, and cardinals and chazans, and elders and deacons and zaddiks who gather at her father's gardens argue their case. Seems, if one's to listen to all that those religious folks go on, most anybody could do a better job of things than Jesus and her pops, and the fickle Holy Spirit. Too hard to explain any of that. Jesus said, "Yes," and cast a glare at the rabbi. "But I don't need any help, if that's what you're asking." "Hey, pal," the woman said to the rabbi, "leave the lady alone." "I said I didn't need any help," Jesus said.
All right, so here I need to extend my background, so I'll just copy it and paste it here. But you'll notice that it kind of fades out and fades in again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a point here. This is a good spot, and then just kind of match it up with that level there. And so now when I play it through,
Jesus said. She fixed her gaze on the row of liquor bottles
continuous.
beneath the mirror that ran the length of the bar. "I'm man enough to handle my own problems." "What did you say?" "I'm man enough to handle my own problems." The woman looked Jesus up and down, lingering on her bust, and laughed. "Wonders never cease." She straightened the heavy framed glasses on her face and said, "There's nothing wrong with being a strong woman." Jesus said, "There are no strong women, only women and men." Jesus fucking Christ. "That's me, the Alpha and the Omega. Not so much the middle part, though." Heavy Frames narrowed her eyes and tilted her head. "Just Jesus Christ."
Tighten that up a little bit.
"Not so much the middle part, though." Heavy Frames narrowed her eyes and tilted her head. "Just Jesus Christ. I don't have a middle name, and if I did, it certainly wouldn't be fucking." "Okay, I'm sorry. You're clearly insane. It's not worth trying to disabuse you of your sexism," Heavy Frame said. "It's sad that we live in a world where even women buy into the idea that only men can be strong." Heavy Frames was turning to recapture her bar stool when Jesus said, "Strength is a masculine quality. Why is that a problem?" "I'm pretending I didn't hear that," Heavy Frame said. She buried mouth and nose in her wine glass and drained a long draught down her throat.
The heck happened to the end of it here? Okay, so just have a gap here. Let me cut that gap out. Okay.
Her hair, a masculine quality. Why is that a problem? "I'm pretending I didn't hear that," Heavy Frame said. She buried mouth and nose in her wine glass and drained a long draught down her throat. Her hair fixed in.
Okay. What's going on? Why does it bump that when I do that? It should not bump that, but it does. That is strange. I don't know why it would cause it to do that. Let me get rid of this. Hmm. I am puzzled by that. It should only affect the track I'm on. Wonder if there's a setting it, because I think I may have done an upgrade on this recently. Maybe the settings are different. What are my preferences here? Okay, let's see here. Audio settings, tracks, track behaviors. Editing a clip can move other clips. Let's uncheck that. Yes. Entire clip and paste and project allow you to access trimmed audio data anytime. Okay. Let's see if this does the trick now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Bump this over a little bit.
And a long draft down her throat. Her hair, fixed in place with incredible amounts of gel, spoke more of the times than of her sexual orientation. Lesbians in Rome had worn flowers in their hair. Gays grew chest-length beards and blackened their leg and arm hair with charcoal. Jesus said, "Then you're making peace, which is a feminine quality." Heavy Frame swung around, her face red-stained with rage. "I don't know where you come from or who taught you such bullshit, but I'll tell you that where I'm from, there are plenty of strong women who stand for their beliefs, and plenty of men who run from a fight, which I think is what you mean when you say making peace." "You have said so," Jesus said. "Oh, piss off," Heavy Frame said, and it was about time to be heading off. Jesus smiled, dropped a gold coin on the bar, drank off her beer, and told the rabbi to wait up.
All right, so here's where I need some sound effects, right? She plunks a gold coin on the bar.
Jesus smiled, dropped a gold coin on the bar.
Okay, so right there I'm gonna put a coin dropping on a bar. Where's that sound effect coming from? Okay, well I gotta pull that. I gotta open up my sound effects website, which I've shown you guys before, but in case you don't remember or you haven't seen it before, I've got this site called Envato Elements, and they're pretty good. They've got all sorts of things here. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I got video, music, sound effects, and so forth. So let's go sound effects. Um, Drop coin. Let's see what we get from that. Okay. That's all I want. Drop coin on table. I just want to see. Hmm. Nope, those aren't good. That's probably the closest thing to what I want so far. That was not bad. All right, what was this one? I think I like this one. I like the sort of spin there. So I'm gonna download this bedtime stories. They've changed their interface. I usually only see like three of these here. That's my old podcast name written by Rich Hosick. All right, I'm gonna add a download, and I'm gonna download it to my downloads folder. And then what I do is I've got another. Let's see here. What I'll do here is I will open up my sound effects. And do I have a money one here? Money. Okay. And so what I'll do here is I'll come up here. I'll look at this in the folder. I will open that zip up and then I'll drag this over here. There we go. Coin drop. And then I can drag that onto my project and get the sound effect. So now, unfortunately, when I do this, it like squishes everything over, but I can go ahead and move that over a bit. So I'm going to take it, bring it over here, zoom in a little bit here. Drank off her beer and told the rabbi to wait up. It was good living in a woman's body. Jesus could time to be heading off. Jesus smiled, dropped a gold coin on the bar. So that's right there. Coin on the bar. Drank. All right, so you see how it's kind of loud? Bar. Drank. What I usually do is I'll by default I'll set my sound effects to minus 10 dB over here. Coin on the bar. Drank off her beer. And that kind of like so it gives me the sound effect in the background, which is what I want because the sound effects when you're doing a narration like this aren't the same that you would do for a full-on audio production. If you're doing that, you want to hear the sound effect at probably at a louder level, so that because it's part of what you're telling. This is kind of like punctuation; it's background, so I like to keep it a little bit lower here. So this will be my minus 10 dB soundtrack track here, and once I get other ones, I'll put them in there. Sometimes I may want to take it down to minus 15, or I may not want to take it down at all if it's a really faint sound effect. And so I'll have different tracks at different levels, but I'll drop the sound effects in there so that I can, reuse that track and not keep on adding all sorts of tracks. All right, so the bar, drank off her beer, and the drink off her beer. That's another thing. I think I've got a sound effect for that. Let me pull that up. All right, that is what is this? This is the Yeah, that is the zip there. Here we go, money. So I come back here. I think I've got food and beverages here. You look for drink. So bottle drinking. Drinking water gulps. No, that's not the one. Hmm. So this one is the best one I got so far. That's drinking from a can. That's not what I want. Too much. I'm going to go with this one. And I'm going to just take the level down quite a bit so that it's not so loud. But that's basically what I'm going to do here. So let's see if this level will fit here. And see, this is actually a whole bunch of sound effects attached to this. So what I'm going to have to do, get rid of this, is zoom in there and just grab the one that sounds best.
Here and told the rabbi to wait up. It was good living in a woman's body. Jesus could slip into the restroom where the rabbi would not follow. Jesus could slip into the restroom.
Okay, so I think I'm going to try this one here. So I'll go back here.
Bar, drank off her beer and told the rabbi to wait up.
So you almost can't hear it, which is good. I just kind of want the hint of it.
The bar, drank off her beer and told the rabbi to wait up.
There we go. I think that's going to
Bar, drank off her beer and told the rabbi to wait up. It was good living in a woman's body. Jesus could slip into the restroom where the rabbi would not follow, lock a stall door, and ascend to paradise.
All right, so I need 3 sound effects here. I need footsteps. I need locking, closing a bathroom door, locking a stall, whatever it is. See if I can find something like that. And then ascending to heaven. So let's see if we can find those. So I'm going to take this up a little bit here so I'm not in the way. And then I'm going to come here to my sound effects library. And go back to footsteps. And I've got a series of footsteps here. You can see here where you got like female footsteps, footsteps, barefoot, boots. And we want something on wood. So heels on wood, is that? Let's see what that sounds like. I don't know if she's wearing heels. She's probably wearing something more like hiking boots or something like that. So let me see what I got here. Sneakers on wooden floor. Let's try that one. That's perfect. All right, probably went a little bit faster though. Faster still. There we go. So 90 beats per minute. And your footsteps I usually put on their own track. So I'm going to keep that here. And -10. So whenever I have footsteps, I'll lay them in there. Now, if I've got footsteps on top of footsteps, I may have to make some adjustments to that, but that doesn't happen too often.
To wait up. It was good living in a woman's body. Jesus could slip into the restroom where the rabbi would not follow, lock a stall,
Right there.
not follow.
Right there. I'm going to cut out the rest there. And then I need the
Rabbi would not follow, lock a stall door.
lock a door. So let's come back to my. Where are you? Hang on a second. All right. So close stall bathroom. So close bathroom. Well, just see. Sometimes you get like your bathroom stall door. Maybe somebody's put something in there completely. Look at that stall door close. Oh. Hmm. I like this one. That one kind of fits here. Let me go ahead and do this one. So this is, you know, that quick closing the door is kind of latching the door, kind of that, it's the sound you make when you do that. So let me go ahead and download this into my downloads, save, and then we'll open that up. Open up that zip file. There it is. Grab that, copy. Come over here, and we'll come back now to doors and windows. Paste that in here. What was the name of it again? Mountain Audio. So it's Mountain Audio. Where are you? Did I paste it in here? Okay, that's weird. Try to scan copy. Place files and destination. Where are you? There it is. Okay, so I'll drag it over here now onto the project. Add just another track here. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and put it up here. Although I have a feeling it's going to be too soft for that. We'll find out. Oh, no, it should be fine. So here we got this. We've got lock a stall door, lock a stall door, and ascend to paradise. All right, so now I need ascending to paradise. So now I do have some sound effects that may be suitable for this. See, do I have it under magic? Let's see, magic. Yeah, I want something more. That's not it. Not it. Maybe that one. I like the magic sparkle one here. Nope. So far, this is my favorite here. All right, but I'm just gonna go and see if I got something better here. So let's do ascend to heaven. That's a funny one to have the chorus. So I'm gonna say that the length has got to be less than 5 seconds here. That's these long ones here. Gateway to heaven. That's too cartoony. No. So now this one is that's kind of like what I'm looking for, like the sort of that thing. So I'm gonna use this one. I think this is the one I want to do here. Save and to downloads. Okay. Then I'll get the sound effect here. Drag it into my magic effect, sound effects here. And then I drag it here. So I have to like take it out of the zip folder before I can use it in my project. All right, so got that. And we'll take this, put it up here. And we'll put it over here. Lock a stall door and ascend to paradise.
paradise.
Okay, so here is where I'm going to get rid of the send to paradise.
And ascend to paradise.
Well, actually, I should probably fade out the bar sounds back here because I don't want to hear the bar sounds in the bathroom, right? So let me fade this out here at this point as well. I'm just going to do this. I got an effect here, fading, fade out.
Where the rabbi would not follow. Lock a stall door and ascend to paradise. They're called Japanese.
Is there some sort of click in there?
They're, they're called Japanese beetles, and Jesus lately spends the.
All right, so here I think I want to lay in the music again. So I'm going to come back here, grab this soft ambient music, and put that back in here. So let's see if I can repeat that.
They're called Japanese beetles, and Jesus lately spends the growing season plucking the little bastards from her father's rose gardens. In the dusk of a punishing summer afternoon, when storm clouds zip the heat in and lightning peals across the horizon.
Ooh, lightning. I love that. I'm going to go ahead and add some lightning in there. Don't need this one anymore. I do have lightning already, so I don't need to look for that one. Let's see up here. Okay, let's see here. I think it's under weather. I have a couple thunders. Find one that don't want it too heavy, but I want it to be like distant too, right? Too long. I like that one. It's a little strong, but let's see what else we can find here. Lightning overhead. So that one I like. I can probably take that down a bit. This one. That one's coming with rain, though. That's the thing. This one here. Yeah, I like that one. I'm going to use that one. I'll drag this down here. Now, this one I may put in its own track because it is so loud. I may need to bring it down a bit here.
Bastards from her father's rose gardens. In the dusk of a punishing summer afternoon, when storm clouds zip the heat in and lightning peals across the horizon, when it could be AD 33 for all the rage the heavens promised to unleash, and when Jesus is wearing light-duty cotton gloves, pinching oil-slicked, green-glowing, redly reflective, armor-winged insect bodies from the finely chewed leaves of scented rose plants, when it's like that, all Jesus can think about is doing the whole robes dipped in blood, rider on a white horse, sharpened sword, come to judge the living and the dead thing. It started back in the year 2000, when Japanese beetles were still a problem only the Japanese dealt with. Jesus' father had planted his gardens in Kobe. Near the end of the blooming season, Jesus was instructed to harvest as many plants as she could manage and arrange their shipment to Israel. There would be a great feast in Jerusalem that year, and the father wanted his rose gardens to be the main attraction. Jesus had never transplanted, let alone transported, grown rose plants, and she knew something was afoot, something more than the simple movement of flowers for a feast. She asked, if possible, that that cup be taken from her, but, as in prior times, the father was mute in response to the request. Second only to blood, the red damask rose pleased the father most. Careful to pluck every beetle from the plant's leaves, Jesus potted 20 dozen roses, called the Kobe Shipping Company, and arranged for delivery. The potted soil had been treated for larvae, but somehow, somewhere, one of the rose plants must have escaped notice.
All right, so I'm wondering if I can bump this over a little bit.
Damask rose pleased the father most. Careful to pluck shipping company and arrange.
So you see where I got the similar peaks here? The thing is, I can cut from here to here, or actually from here to here. Copy that, and then right here, sort of lay it on top of that. So let me put this over here a little bit. So let's see if I can extend a little bit here.
Second only to blood, the red damask rose pleased the father most. Careful to pluck every beetle from the plant's leaves, Jesus potted 20 dozen roses, called the Kobe Shipping Company, and arranged for delivery. The potted soil had been treated for larvae, but somehow, somewhere, one of the rose plants must have escaped notice. The following year, there were reports of a species of beetle attacking beans and roses and practically any leafing plant all throughout the Middle East. Yasser Arafat accused the Israeli military of attempting a new biological warfare, but the accusations were muffled when it became clear that beetles harassed every land, government, and people, regardless of national affiliation and religious persuasion.
All right, so I'm gonna let that be sort of like blank there. I'm gonna grab this sound here and lay it back down again after we do this.
Religious persuasion.
Start up again here.
Religious persuasion. Jesus' father sent her to Dubai to tend persuasion. Jesus' father sent her to Dubai to tend roses that year. Even in Dubai, Catholic priests and Jewish zaddiks found her. Their greatest point of contention that summer regarded Jesus wearing a hijab. Jesus replied, "Would you have me crucified again?" "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar," the priest said, but the rabbis were not satisfied. There was no beer at all to be enjoyed there, and fresh yogurt with figs only appeals for so long. One day, around dusk, when the roses were
Okay, so here is where I think I want to fade this out. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, bump out the rest of it here, and I'm going to fade this out from here to here. Because what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go ahead and throw in some dusk sounds. And when we get to the scene where they're doing the honey, I'll have that going. But we're not going to get that far tonight. Fade this out here. Okay, so let's see if this sounds okay.
but the rabbis were not satisfied. There was no beer at all to be enjoyed there, and fresh yogurt with figs only appeals for so long. One day, around dusk, when the roses were in full.
All right, so dusk sound. I think I've got some ambiance for that. Let's see what we got. So I've got category here, my sound effects for ambiance. Do I have dusk? Let's see what this sounds like. Give it a try. Okay, Okay, so this I'm gonna go ahead and grab this and throw it inside this same track here from this. Out. I'm gonna bring it here, overlap a little bit, and then fade it in. Oops, cancel that. Fading, fade in. All right.
Long. One day, around dusk, when the roses were in full bloom, and the Japanese beetles had been hand plucked from every leaf on the rose bushes, Jesus suggested to the priest, an elderly man, and the only one among the religious stalkers who seemed to have warmed slightly to Jesus, that they brew mead in the cellar on the property where her father's roses grew. The priest had not brewed strong drink since he left the Trappist monastery, seeking a commission to bring relief to God's workers in the Middle East. They waited for final dusk and slipped out of the compound. In a field not far out of town,
All right, so here's where I'm wondering if I should do some more footsteps here. And let me see if I find if I have a decent footstep. I can. You guys can't hear me. I'm moving away from the microphone here. All right, let me see. I want to see if I have some footsteps here that might be appropriate. Let me see what I got. Sound effects, ambiance, footsteps. So walking on. Do we have grass? Let's see here, grass. Let's try that. Let's see if this actually does the trick here. So footsteps track is up here.
drink since he left the Trappist monastery, seeking a commission to bring relief to God's workers in the Middle East. They waited for final dusk and slipped out. Final dusk and slipped out of the compound. In a field not far out of town, where a grove of oaks and cedars had been planted, and where the government had
Okay, so let's see if I can repeat these footsteps here. Go ahead and repeat it from this point on.
out of the compound. In a field not far out of town, where a grove of oaks and cedars had been planted, and where the government had allotted millions of gallons of water to be poured, Jesus and the priest found a wild beehive.
All right, now we can get some bees buzzing, right? So that I don't think I have. Let me just take a quick look here. So I can search all my sound effects. This is kind of cool. Just give me sound effects and let's search for bees. Nope, nothing there. So back to the website. Bees. All right, so this one actually sounds the best. But what I might want to do to sort of like give the impression of a hive is layer a bunch of them on top of each other. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. But not tonight. Tonight I am at my bedtime here, so I'm gonna say goodnight to you guys. I'm probably gonna work on this during the day tomorrow, but maybe tomorrow I'm gonna try and get my other episode done, Dreams of Her, because I need to get some episodes out. I have been pretty slack on that. So I want to get this one out this week and then have another one ready to go for next week. I've got the final chapter of A Really Good Day coming out this week as well. So I want to sort of capitalize on the new subs I got at the Printers Row Lit Fest. Hopefully get some more this coming weekend. And I want to have some good original stories ready to pop, ready to go. All right. That's it for tonight. I will see you tomorrow.